Hi, everybody. We are here today, and as normal, I have a wonderful guest with me. As I always say to you about synchronicities and the things that happen to me, I go on about this all the time, but it happens all the time. And this just happens to be another one of those things. So, about 3 years ago, I had an amazing session with this lady, and it really transformed where I went in the future. And I often look back on this and refer to it. So how things happened to be here today, that one of my friends, which is Janie, who you know about, happened to say, "Oh, I went to a fair. I met this lady, amazing. I bought you a book. I bought you the cards," and it was like, "Oh, great, thank you." So anyway, one day she showed me online this book, and I went, "You are kidding me!" And she went, "What?" I went, "Well, that is exactly the person who I was talking to you about 6 months ago, and this was just synchronicity to a T. I haven't seen Nicola, I haven't spoken to Nicola within all that time, and then suddenly, buff, we get this amazing synchronicity, and here she is." So, welcome, Nicola. Wonderful to have you on here, and I am so looking forward to our chat.
Hi, Melanie. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I just love the synchronicity because it was just pieces dropping into place, wasn't it? So it's fab to be here. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
my pleasure. So I would like to just say to everybody, Nicola is very, very experienced lady. She's been at this way longer than me. And her experience is huge. And her ability is also amazing. I can say this firsthand. So, Nicola, I would just like to again to welcome you, and to start with putting your journey out there and just telling everybody how you started and how you've got to today. So, take it away, Nicola.
Right, thank you. It's been a bit of a journey, actually. It really has. And I guess that's the case with all of us, though, isn't it? When we look back. But my journey bizarrely started with the ending of a relationship. Um, when I was younger, I was very much a take it and leave it sort of girl. But this one person stuck in my mind. And so I was living in London at the time, and I went to Mysteries in Covent Garden to have a tarot reading. And this lady was going through these things. To be honest, I didn't resonate very much with the reading at all. But at the end of it, she said, I've got a feeling that you should work with crystals. Well, I didn't think anything of it at all. I went home that night, totally forgot about the reading. When I woke up the next morning, somebody shouted the word Kunzite in my ear. Literally, as I'm talking to you, I heard it audibly. Couldn't mistake it. I was the only one in the apartment. And this is how long ago it was, because we had only just got internet at work at that point in time.
Wow.
And I think it was Bing or whatever the search engine was. I had no idea what Kunzite was. I put it in and it was a crystal. And the penny dropped. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I went back to Mysteries. I bought this Kunzite crystal. I only had one. Asked the lady how to use it. And she said to me, you need to put it under your pillow to attune to it. Well, I put it under my pillow. And that night I had all these past life memories of this person that I'd been seeing. And I can't tell you how I knew they were past life memories. I knew, just knew they were past life memories. And I was going to work the next day, and I remember walking to the train station, and you have these moments, and I literally looked up at the heavens, and I said, okay, I'm ready, I'm here. Show me what's what. And that was the start of everything for me. I mean, as with most things, it wasn't a wonderful journey. As a youngster, I didn't really know how to handle my emotions, and I went through a very bad period of depression. But that moment was almost the moment where everything started. and I was still kind of moving through depression at that period in time. And I was on the floor one evening in a very bad state, and I'd had this moment with the crystal, but it sort of like initiated, I suppose, everything really. And I was on the floor one evening, just not knowing what to do. And I had that moment where I was just praying for help, and I felt something lift inside me, and I knew I would be okay. And so those two things together, I think, were the thing that really started me off delving into energy. I'd had a tarot set when I was 19 because my mum had bought me a tarot set when I was 19 because I was ill one Christmas, and I'd played with them and I'd done readings and I'd got things right, but it was kind of I was dabbling in and out of all those things as you do, but it was the past life experience with a crystal, and then it was this moment where after kind of moving in and out of depression and really being down in a pit, this moment happened. And then I thought, this is this prayer, this show me what it's all about being answered. So I delved into crystals. That was my first bit. And I delved into energy. So understanding about my energy, understanding about how things worked. I had a friend at the time who was undergoing a massage course. So she was learning about massage. I was learning about the energy of the body and the energetic systems, and we were giving each other treatments. And in the meantime, I was moving through this crystal course, and I had really tangible experiences with crystals. I mean, I could literally feel their energy. I would pick them up. I would know exactly how they were going to work with me. I would know exactly how they were going to work with you. And it was just like suddenly this doorway opened.
Yes.
And for the first time, I felt like I had a purpose in life, because I skated through school, you know, as you do, but I never really knew what I wanted to do. I was a good girl. I went into a bank and I did all the things that I should do, but I could never really settle, and it never felt like me. And suddenly all of this aspect of spirituality, I knew I was home in that respect.
Yes.
And I think, like most people, you know, when you start off on one thing, you go down the rabbit hole.
Yes, most
So
definitely.
you do, don't you?
Yes.
So, so I started off with crystals, and I was really fortunate because I worked with this amazing lady in Lucy's College who totally got me, and I totally got her, and she was hugely supportive. And so I did various things with her, and I did my Reiki, I did my Reiki mastership, and I did an essence course. And what I hadn't realized until I did the Essence course was that I was actually receiving channeled information. And I didn't know that until I sat on this yew tree and I literally felt it speaking to me. And I thought, oh, I've experienced that before. And then suddenly I had this angel appear in front of me. And I didn't know how I knew it was an angel, but a bit like a past life experience, I knew what it was. And that's when I also looked back at the experience I had with something moving within me. And I suddenly clicked when I was sitting in that meditation that it was soul.
I see.
And it was one of those things where I suddenly realized there are lots of things that I know, and I don't know how I know them. And the things that I don't know how I know, but I know to be true, are actually true.
Yes.
And that was the moment, I think, where I just opened myself up to everything. I just really surrendered. And I started to work with angels. So I was very much in the energetic realm. I started to work and practice crystals. I started to teach crystal therapy. I started to work a lot more with angels. I would have angel signs everywhere. But I never believed in white feathers at all, ever. I just thought they were too woo and everyone was, you know, doing everything around
Yes.
them. But I was really connected angelically. My grandfather died, and I remember going to see him at the funeral home, which was just in the next village. I'd come up to stay with mum, and it was just in the next village. And I walked down to see him through this lovely kind of country lane, beautiful summer's afternoon. And went to see him, spent 20 minutes with him. And then as I came out and I walked back up this summer lane, there was this hedgerow, which had been all green when I walked down, and it was totally covered with white feathers when I walked back. And so I've had the most amazing, sometimes unbelievable experiences in terms of energy and in terms of experiences. And I suppose they were all initiations, and what they were really wanting me to do was really to trust myself and trust my channel.
Yeah.
So as I started to work angelically, I got given channeled information about angels. I got given angelic signatures. And then I had an experience with spirit, which I hadn't worked with before. I left London when my dad died, and I moved back up to Lincolnshire, and I went to a mind, body and spirit event at a local hotel because I wanted to meet like-minded people.
Yes.
And I went to this spiritual development day. And this spiritual development day was, for me at that point in time, spiritual development was us. It was our spirit. It was our energy. So I signed up, just went to this workshop for a day, got there in the morning, lots of other lovely people there. And the host said, okay, so we're going to work psychically this morning, and then this afternoon we're going to work with mediumship. And my heart dropped because I had never thought about working with spirit. I'd never wanted to. It was not part of who I was. And I just thought, I can't leave. It's too rude. I'm just going to have to stay. And as you do, went through the morning. It was fab. In the afternoon, I was partnered with this lady, and I said, I've never done this before. And she said, oh, well, just, try this, give it a go. And suddenly I had this experience of this person with me. And I felt them. And I was giving information, the information was taken, and I was still, oh, well, And towards the end, when I was, and the host was saying, okay, so now ask if he's got a message. And so I asked if he got a message, and suddenly I felt this whoosh move through me. The lady I was working with went, and we both felt it at the same time. And it was just this immense feeling of love.
Yes.
And that got me hooked on spirit.
Right.
And so as I worked with spirit, I was really connecting into soul energy because I was really sitting in the power of soul and lifting that up to connect with the spirit world. And it was almost as though I'd been through all these different stages of working with energy and working with different aspects of energy. And then the spirit was the last thing, and it drew everything together because it opened me up within myself rather than me opening up to energies that were connecting, not necessarily outside of myself, but weren't connecting really through me. They were connecting from a higher space. And that's what really kind of pulled everything together. So I worked very much mediumistically for a long time, taught mediumship. And I was never quite at home working with mediumship because I don't really believe in the spirit world as such. I don't believe in the spirit world as a place that, for instance, my father is, that he stays there.
Yes.
Because for me, that's not progress.
Yes.
And I'd had experiences with energy. I'd had experiences of going up to spirit and really being in that spirit energy and being told that you must experience the pain of true grief, which is a very weird thing to say, but I'd never experienced love like it. And what I have done whenever I've lost someone is I've really let myself experience the grief, and it's always been a catalyst for me. But I didn't believe that, when my dad passed, that he was up there just sitting on his boat, doing whatever he's doing forevermore, because for me, that wasn't progress. And so I always felt uncomfortable working with mediumship, but I never felt uncomfortable working with spirit. And I realized that I view spirit and I view the spirit world as two very different things, and that I'm really connected to that energy of the spirit. I'm connected to that energy of source, if you like.
Yes.
And as soon as I really let go of the fact that mediumship and connection was all about connecting to the aspect of the spirit world, lots of stuff started to change, and I started to get soul signatures through, and I started to work a lot more with soul energy. And I realized all of the stuff I've done through all of the work that I've done, and I taught various therapies to practitioner level for a number of years, they were all really about connecting you to you.
Yes.
And really allowing your individuality in a way that sometimes we're not allowed to be. And when I was working with trance energy, and I still work as a trance medium, but when I was working with trance, everybody was like, you must do it this way. And I'm like, no, because it's finding that power of who you are and
Yes.
finding that power within you that then lifts and extends outwards and actually connects you to that greater aspect of being. So it's been a real, and you'll know this too, Melanie, it's never a straight path. It's been a real, and as the more that I've worked spiritually and the more that I've opened up to energy, the more I've had to dive so much more deeply into myself.
Yes.
And once I got soul signatures through, which were channeled through me, it really took me back to the angelic signatures and the way that I was working angelically. And I just thought, I can't do everything. If I'm really going to commit to my purpose, I have to really forge a way through, which means that I can't do all of the bits and pieces. And I just really have to feel what my path is. And my path is really to take soul signatures forward because they really help us to understand who we are. They help us to understand the soul's path in this lifetime. And they have something quite special about them. Yeah,
They do.
yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I have the book and I have the cards, and I will show you the book here. We will be putting a link to the book, to Nicola's book, and to the cards. And yes, I've used the cards and they have been very profound. And we thought that we would do something a little different on this session because this is so interesting, and obviously this is Nicola's baby. It really is, and that she's brought this into being from source. So I thought, right, okay, we're going to do a bit of a show and tell. But in doing a show and tell, it means that you are all going to know exactly about my soul signatures and everything about me. And to be honest, I don't know this because I've not gone into depth. So it's going to be a very new thing for me. So yet another way of being raw and putting everything out and not knowing where this is going. So I gave Nicola the other day the information that is required, which is all in the book, for her to be able to put all of this together. And you have the ability out there through Nicola's book, through the cards, to be able to do this yourself. But Nicola also offers sessions as well. So because these are on your website, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah,
your session. So you do this either way, so people can either buy the book, do this themselves, or take it another whole complete to another complete level, can't they?
Yeah.
So Nicola, first of all, before we actually go into what you've devised, I'm not quite sure whether I want to go here now.
I promise it's good.
To the fact that one of the questions that I wanted to ask before we get into it that I find quite amazing is, on the cards and on the front of your book, there is this symbol.
Yeah.
Can you explain what this is and how this came about, please?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I'm really passionate about is understanding how things work. And I know that we can't always understand how things work. But for instance, when I was working all through my, if you like, my spiritual path and my journey, I've always wanted to know the energy that I'm working with. So I never work with an angel, for instance, without knowing which angel I'm working with. I never work with an ascended master without knowing which ascended master I'm working with. So I don't just receive information. I guess I don't just receive information where I don't know where it's coming from. And when I was given soul signatures, I was given information, but I said, okay, how do I know that this is from soul? Because I was receiving information, but for me, I had a very tangible experience with soul. So I knew it as an energy within me. And as I was receiving some information, I thought, but how do I know? And they gave me a feeling as I was receiving this information. And I said, okay. And then I was given a visual of kind of that feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. And it was almost as though, if you imagine soul as a 3D oscillating energy, if we could look at it physically, it would almost be like that shape. So that's a visual representation of soul. And it's the same for everybody. And all of the signatures have that same image, but they have different light points. So it's almost as though as soul is working, as it's rotating, as it's moving within you, and the image isn't perfectly symmetrical because soul's always in motion. Its energy is never static. So as it's moving and as it's oscillating within you, as certain things happen to you, as you come into contact with certain experiences, or as you reach a moment of a catalyst upon your journey, there are certain light points that are triggered, and those light points represent one of the 11 signatures that I've been given. Yeah, so that's a visual representation of the energy of soul and the visual representation of a specific signature.
Okay, great. Because I kept looking at it, and it's I thought I must ask, because it's fascinating, and I had a real pull towards it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that explanation.
That's right.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So let's let's So if you want to, over to you, and you can explain exactly from word go how you've gone about and how you've done this.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. So what I would say is that these are channeled. And I always want to say, with anything that we work with, any of us, when you birth it and when you put it out there, it then becomes a living, breathing energy. So obviously I'm going to work with you, Melanie, with your signatures, but I would also say to you, anything that comes up for you, any insight that comes up for you as I'm talking about them, pay attention to that, because we're all individual and we all receive information differently. And that is also really important.
Okay.
From a soul signatures perspective, there are 11 signatures and you have all of them within you. So you will work with all of them at different points in time and on different levels. You'll never reach the end point, because energy is always progressive and it's always evolving.
Yes.
Yeah. So even when you're working with the signatures and you're mastering certain aspects of them, you will still work with them again. You will still move deeper with them. The more that you evolve, the more that they will evolve. And that is because when we work with that energy of soul, what it really wants to do is express through us.
Yes.
I believe soul has a purpose. I believe we as individuals have a purpose, but I believe soul has a purpose. And that is to express itself as fully and as freely as it possibly can, through you as a human.
Yes.
And in order to do that, it helps you to master certain qualities within yourself, to really lean in and embody certain qualities, and to really be you as fully and as freely as you possibly can as well. So everyone has 11 signatures, but you will have 4 signatures that are more influential to you, and they keep repeating in very significant ways through your lifetime. And they hold, if you like, key lessons, key challenges, the key ask of soul that you're here to really lean into, to really embody within this lifetime. And doing that will not only support your potential, but it will also really support soul's potential. And I
Okay.
think, and I know you as a channel and as a light worker, that you are, it isn't actually just about fulfilling our potential as humans. It's about actually fulfilling that more divine energy and the potential of that within this lifetime, within this earth, within this human plane.
Yes,
So the signatures are very much about helping to do that. So are you with me so far?
I am. Yes, most
Okay.
definitely. This is very exciting.
Okay, so we're going to look at your four signatures, your four key
Okay.
signatures. We're going to look at your foundation activation, which is based on your date of birth.
Hmm.
We're going to look at your leading activation, which is based on your birth name. So if we think about your foundation activation as your roots, it's the energy that you're really here to master. And if you can master that, there's greater expansion, there's greater potential, and you really start to embody that energy of soul within you, within life. You have your leading foundation, your leading activation, which is based on your birth name. And so that's your destiny point, and it's an energy that you are here to reach for. It's an aspect of soul that you're here to reach for. Then you have your inner influence, which is based on your first name or your most used name. So for you, you gave me Melanie. For me, my most used name would be Nick. So
Hmm.
whilst lots of people call me Nicola, the name I use is Nick.
Mm.
Okay. And then you have your external influence, which is your current name or any changes to your birth name. So we're going to look at those four. Your inner influence is really interesting. Okay? In a really lovely way. I mean, it is honestly, it's so interesting in a really lovely way. And it really speaks to who you are.
Okay.
So, but we're going to start with your foundation
Right.
signature. All right. And I know when I looked at this and worked it out, I was not surprised at all. Actually, I wasn't surprised with any of your signatures, if I'm really honest, because I think you really live them.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So I'm going to show you the card for your foundation signature, just so if anyone's wondering what they are. So you'll see that this is the same image as the one on the front of the book, but it's the integration signature. So it's the 10th signature.
I
And
see.
integration is all about, so all of the signatures have energetic frequencies. So sometimes when you look at them, you will resonate with them. And there are channeled words with them, but there are also practical qualities that you can work with that you will recognize and that you're here to really master and embody. So integration is all about integrating different aspects of yourself, integrating change and moving into different paradigms within your energy so that you're always adjusting to what is required now. Okay.
Okay.
Its qualities are evolution, resourcefulness, and clarity. So when we think about integration, and within the signatures, there are three key growth signatures, and integration is one of them. You've got two of them, but integration is one of them. All right. But integration is about a natural evolutionary process through life. So change is our most constant aspect of life.
Yes.
And you're really asked to recognize this with integration, because with integration, there is a desire within your makeup for you to consistently move forward. Yeah. And so that's really important. You are not someone that is here to do the one thing or to do the same thing. So there will be a constant process of letting go to move into a different state of being, a different aspect of life. The signatures have a prompt, which is a soul prompt, which is a challenge. And yours is to allow change to be a friend. Because what this particular signature wants for you is to recognize that your sense of self, your security, your stability, your certainty actually comes from within you. It doesn't come from anything around you. All right. So as an individual, if you're looking for life to be steady and for life to be consistent, that is never going to happen with integration.
Hmm.
So the more you can
Yes.
really embody yourself as your certainty,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you'll really move into the energy of integration. So integration is always about the fact that there are changes that are being integrated. There are changes that you're moving through that are always moving you forwards, and you are here to evolve, and you're here to recognize that life is about you evolving. So its qualities of resourcefulness. So that is something you have to find within yourself, because there isn't the steadiness in life, there isn't the sameness in life that a lot of people might like. Yes, so you have to find that aspect of resourcefulness. When you really understand and know yourself as your most consistent aspect of life, there is a clarity that comes within the moment. And with integration, you will have clarity, but you will very often only have clarity of the next step. Yeah, because you're evolving, so you won't have clarity of the full journey. And if you want to know what the full journey is, then you will be taking yourself out of the present moment awareness.
Yes.
Yeah. So confidence and liberation are things that are activated. So all of the signatures have a quality, 3 qualities, and they have 3 activations. So the qualities are what you're asked to master. So resourcefulness, the ability to be resourceful, the ability to allow that sense of evolution, and to allow yourself to have clarity, the clarity you need in the moment, rather than clarity about 10 years ahead.
Yes.
And they all have activations. So when the signatures are working with you, integration activates liberation, it activates present moment awareness, and it activates confidence. So the more you can be within the present moment, the more you will know the certainty of who you are in the moment, which supports your confidence to take things forward, because you are always your most trusted aspect within life. And you are asked with integration to continually liberate yourself from anything that holds you back. So that might be limiting beliefs. It might be emotions if you're incredibly emotional. You're really called to master those so that you are able to move forward with as little baggage as possible. So you're really free to move into the next stage of life. And the ability to integrate change and really move with change is not something that everyone has, but it is for you. There is an ability within integration that means that because of that present moment awareness, you have an ability to witness who you are, as opposed to necessarily sometimes being in the emotionality or in the life bit of who you are.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can't forget the life bit of who you are. Yeah,
Yes.
but there is an ability to witness that, which is incredibly important for you. All right, so that's your foundation signature. That's a signature you always come back to. So
Okay.
if you are ever in those moments where you have no idea who you are or what's going on, integration asks you to come back to the self, that it's not anything external that validates you or that lets you know who you are or how you are. It's that you within
Yes.
yourself.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yes.
Yeah. And that's almost your grounding, if you like. It's your roots. Once you know that everything changes and that even you change, but you are your most consistent aspect of life, once you can really hold that energy, almost as though you are standing on a little piece of ground and everything is moving around you, as long as you know that certainty of self within that, you're able to delve into your resourcefulness and know that whatever comes up, you are able to navigate that next step. As long as you come back to that, you will always be meeting what soul is asking of you and asking you to master in this lifetime. And your foundation activation is the one thing that never changes. So this will work with you on a physical level, it'll work with you on a mental level, an emotional level, and a spiritual level. And it really wants you to be as present within yourself with that certainty of self as much as you can at any given moment in time.
That is amazing. Because again, that is just spot on.
So obviously any insight, what I will say, and I probably should have said this before I started working with you, Melanie, is that when you choose to have a session, when you choose to look at your signatures, you're giving them permission to work with you. And obviously, soul is an energy that's inherent within us anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
But we can choose to lean into that a little bit more fully. We can choose to partner with that. We can choose to be more consciously aware of it. And when you work with the signatures, you are giving permission to do that.
Yes, very, very interesting. And with it just goes to show you with what you have just said that that has most definitely occurred, probably even more so since September. And with how you have explained that, I constantly do that, exactly what you say. With whatever is happening, I bring myself back to truly what I know,
Yeah.
or like with whatever is happening. That you said it like so spot on it to a T. Yeah, amazing.
Okay. So that's so your foundation activation, you should be able to see that through life. Yeah, as you look back, you should be able to see that fact that there's always been aspects of change, some of them naturally occurring, some of them a bit more, but it's you, it's your sense of yourself, it's your sense of certainty that's carried you forward. And there's always a desire and a need to let go. So there will have been things you've had to let go of so that you can move forward with as much freedom as you possibly can.
Oh yes, very much so.
Okay, so this one will not surprise you at all. This is your leading activation, and it's the emergence signature. So this is based on your birth name.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the emergence signature. And the emergence signature is the key growth signature. So the emergence signature is a signature of the visionary. And if I had to sum it up in one thing, it would be you need to reach for a vision that is bigger, that is bolder, that is deeper than you believe is possible. So it really calls for you to stretch beyond your boundaries. Its channeled words are, within every aspect of soul comes a moment when the emerging light creates a resistance which enables entrenched patterns of limitation to be released. And if you look at the signature itself, you've kind of got a stretch here. And that's what I was given. So it's almost as though you're stretching beyond your own boundaries. So you're meeting with emergence, you're really being asked to meet your own resistance, the resistance within your own energy, so that you can then embody and be the vision that you need and also the lighter frequencies that you need. So with emergence, it's very difficult to choose a path of ease. So, okay.
Thanks, Nicola.
So you have to choose. So I caveat that by saying, it's a visionary signature, it's wonderful, and it is a wonderful signature, but it really calls you to embrace the path of greatest growth rather than the path of ease. And that's your leading signature. So that's, if you think about soul, when you embody that aspect of coming back to you and you being your certainty, your leading activation is where soul wants to push you.
Yes.
It's what it wants you to reach for. And it wants you to reach for what you feel deeply inside you. Because when we think of a vision, we think of envisioning something.
Yes.
But actually it's really more of the feeling, because it calls you to reach for what you really know is possible, for what you really believe is possible, even if it doesn't seem doable right at this particular moment in time.
Right.
It activates vision. So you can't really work and you can't have emergence as a leading activation if you want to stay where you are. All right. So it's going to call you to expand. It's going to call you to push forward. It's going to call you to do things that other people have said can't be done. or other people have said you can't do.
Yeah.
It's really going to call you to reach for that. There's an aspect of faith that comes with emergence, because other people might not believe what's possible for you or what you're achieving, but there is something in you that says, I know I can do this. So it's qualities of vision, it's qualities of growth mindset. So it wants you to look at obstacles and challenges as opportunities. So it asks you to look at, okay, so if I'm facing this challenge, what is it trying to teach me? What am I being asked to learn? And it activates risk taking, because it wants you to bet on yourself. It wants you to put all of your eggs in your basket and bet on yourself and back yourself 110%. Okay. It's very passionate, so it's about adventure and it's about passionate direction. So when you're being pulled toward a vision, because it's a growth signature, so it will call you to walk the path that enables you to get to that vision. You can't be working towards something that you have no interest in. There needs to be a real passion, and there needs to be an adventure. You need to feel with emergence as though you're being pulled on that adventure of the soul, and that you won't be fulfilled until you get it, because it's really calling you to experience life as you move on that journey towards your vision. Okay. Its sole prompt is courage neutralizes self-sabotage. So all of those mind monkeys, those times where you think, I can't do this, I shouldn't do this, I don't know how to do this. Emergence says, just be brave, do it anyway. And you will find that the more you do it, the more that voice, the more that aspects of self-sabotage, whatever they may be, they get quieter and they start to be neutralized. With emergence, there's no steady. All right. So it is that case of I'm reaching for something. But also with emergence, there's no final destination, because as soon as you reach a vision that you're holding dearly, suddenly the next one starts to emerge. So you are always searching, you are always moving forward, which is inherent within your foundation activation. But with emergence, there's a real drive, there's a real push, there's a real desire. And it really is, if it wasn't the visionary signature, it would be the pioneer. That's the other word that I was given. I had to look at what I was going to go with. So it is always about reaching. It's always about meeting your own resistance. It's never about playing it safe. It's always about taking the chance, taking the risk. And it really supports you in building belief in yourself and building belief in what you know to be true for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are your two main signatures. And obviously we haven't spoken for about 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. But they feel very, very right for you.
Yes.
So
it's that information that you have through that, like I said before, is very, very true. Very true. Just goes to show you that, you know, what you have channeled through and how that works. And I will say this to everybody through the information that Nicola is putting out there about me is that it is spot on, is really, really spot on. So yes, I can confirm this wholeheartedly.
wonderful. So now we're going to move into your inner influence. So you've got 4 signatures. You've got your foundation. I say you'll work with 11, but your foundation signature is your roots, if you like. You're really asked to master that and embody it. That supports you meeting that emergence signature, which is leading. And then you have the inner influence, and this is your most personal signature. And subconsciously, you choose it.
Right.
Because it's based on your name, and it's based on the name that you use for yourself, or that you know yourself to be.
Right.
So with Melanie, we've got devotion. If you called yourself Dinky, For instance, if that was the name that you said to yourself, that's what your signature would be. So my first name is Nicola, but I use Nick more often than not. So Melanie, it's the devotion signature. Now it's the 11th signature, and I have it where I have the card here. There we go. So it's the 11th signature. It's called devotion, and it is all of the cards are energetic, all of the cards are spiritual, but there are some signatures which have a little bit more growth involved in them. There are some signatures which have a little bit more of a spiritual aspect, and there are some signatures which have a little bit more of an energetic aspect. Devotion is the most spiritual of all of the 11 signatures. And basically the channeled words on it are, within every aspect of soul, one moves into a mastery, a moment of infinite integration and accelerated activation of mastery of the soul through mastery of the being.
Interesting.
Okay. So its qualities are leadership, mastery, and integrity. So it calls you to leadership. It calls you to both lead yourself, but also to lead life. And that's something that you have subconsciously or consciously actually decided to do with this particular signature. If you think about the foundation activation, the leading signature, you're not in control of those so much. Obviously, you choose to come in when you come in, but this is very much a signature that you really do choose based on your name. So devotion is really about you stepping into leading in an aspect of life, but stepping into leading you through that. It calls you to master anything that prevents you leading the way that you need to. So, that's emotional mastery. It might be skills. It might be your mindset. It might be discipline. But so it calls you to really hold mastery in what you do, but also within yourself, so that you can really fulfill that potential. And it asks you to stand in integrity. So to do everything in the right way, from the right place, with the right intentions. And that is something that you hold yourself to. So with this being your influence, that's what you're holding yourself accountable to. All right.
Yes.
Now, there's very much a spiritual leaning with this, because it activates unity consciousness, it activates divine expression, it activates grace. So when you have devotion as one of your 4 key signatures, you're here for a greater purpose than yourself. Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you want to do, you will be called to a greater purpose than yourself.
Yes.
Its sole prompt is embrace the process of life. Yep, so it really is about embracing the process of life, but based on the fact that you are a being having a human experience. So you have to be here in order to make that aspect of light, that aspect of spirituality really be present and livable, and also to really make a change.
Yes.
Devotion will call you to be devoted to that cause. It will call you to be devoted to yourself. It will call you to be devoted to your purpose. And the more you move through life, the more you will have to honor that calling, because you won't be fulfilled if you don't. And it really calls you, in some respects, to honor also and to be devoted to, I suppose, the changes that source, light, all of the beings that work with us want to see on this planet at this particular point in time. All right. So it's you choosing, if you like, to work with the highest expression of yourself, the highest expression of source, the highest expression of soul. You're really choosing to move into that. I want to say that small part of leadership and mastery that really pulls everything together. And I often think and I haven't been given this, but I often think with devotion, that if there's devotion really consistently somewhere in your charts, it's one of your main 4, I often think that you've lived so many lifetimes that this is a lifetime that everything comes together. This is a
I
lifetime
agree. Yes.
that all of the
Yeah.
past expressions, all of those past
Mm.
kind of soul aspects, they're all bringing everything together in this lifetime
Yeah.
if you have devotion as very present in your chart.
100% agree with that, Nicola.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100.
And you've chosen that. So that's what you're here for. That's what you're committing to. So it's the most spiritual card in the sense that you can't lead just a human life. And I don't mean that in any derogatory way.
Yes.
But it calls you to bring that spirituality into being, so that you can really serve. But it is about leading. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it, you can't step back. You can't decide that you're going to be seen from the back of the room. You have to step up to the front of the room, and it will call you to do that. Now, wonderfully, integration and particularly emergence will call you to do that anyway. So they'll support you in doing that. But devotion is like, no, you can hide for a certain period of time while you master the skills you need to,
Yes.
but you're here to lead, you're here to step up, you're here to make a difference. And more importantly, you're here to be seen. And that's incredibly important.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's your most personal signature because it's your inner influence. And if you ever feel as though you're going through such a dark night of the soul that you lose yourself, that's a signature to come back to. And to know that you're here to lead, you're here to fulfill a mission, you're here for a purpose, and you're here to really to lead and to master everything that life asks of you and everything that you ask of yourself in order to do that. So that you're standing in that full integrity of energy, not just saying, but actually doing and being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's your inner influence. And the final signature that we're going to look at is your external influence. Now, this is based on any change of name that you've had. So the most obvious change from our birth name is if we've got married. I haven't got married. So for instance, my full birth name has a middle name, but I don't use that very often. So my leading activation will be based on my birth full name, but my external influence will be based on Nicola Tonsager because that's the name I use. So obviously we're looking at Melanie Easom. Now, this is also an integration signature, right? So, the external influence supports or overshadows or is a subconscious influence on your leading activation. So you have integration as your foundation activation. And obviously integration is about integrating different aspects of self. We've talked about that. It's about having that present moment awareness and absolutely coming back to yourself, knowing that you are your own certainty. Because it's your external influence and it's linked to names, it's a subconscious influence to emergence. So emergence can be slightly less forceful when you have integration underpinning it. Because with integration, there is also a considered aspect to how you are and to how you make changes. So as you mature, as we move through life, there will be a consideredness, there'll be a thoughtfulness, which can sometimes rein emergence in and actually make it more directed. Okay. It gives you greater objectivity as you move through life because you are able to distance yourself from being in life so that you're able to witness you within life.
I see.
If that makes sense. Yeah. So, and it gives not a caller energy, but when we think of integration as very much an evolutionary energy, and there's always an aspect of change with integration, there's always that natural evolutionary moment. Emergence calls you to really reach for your vision, but as integration comes into play underneath that, It causes you to reach for your vision, absolutely, but it will also cause you to reach for it in a way that feels settled within you. Okay, because it always brings you back to yourself. So it really supports your foundation activation of really being fully within yourself, of really seeing you as your certainty. And with that, when we think about emergence, where it's just it's taking a risk on yourself, it's going full throttle, it's being really passionate. Integration says the best way to do that is to really make sure you're connected to yourself at all times, that you're in that present moment, that you are being as much as you are doing, so that you really feel, know, trust that vision within you, so that you know when you reach for it, no matter what the pathway is, you're absolutely certain that's the right way to go. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
Now, what's really interesting with integration is that it's the 10th signature. There are 11 signatures. So when you get a 10 or 11, we don't reduce down. However, integration does reduce to 1. And devotion, which is the 11th signature, does reduce to 2. The 1 is more important than the 2 because integration comes up twice. And so integration is always supported by initiation. And initiation is the first signature, which is this lovely one here. And initiation is all about starting. It's all about initiating. It is all about being curious and having the ability to explore. And one of the key things about initiation is it does not want you to conform. So underlying integration is always that ability of not being willing to conform. And because you have it twice, and I don't usually mention it if you only have integration or devotion once in your chart, but because you have it twice, you will be feeling that initiatory energy. Now, the caveat with that is that you need to follow through. So you have a great ability to start lots of things, yeah, and not all of them come into fruition. And initiation wants you to be discerning about what you do, because every time you start something, it takes energy. And so it wants you to really navigate that energy in line with integration and in line with emergence. But the ability to be curious, the ability to explore, the ability to want to navigate outside of what society expects or other people expect, to navigate out of the shoulds is inherent in who you are, because you have integration twice. So initiation is absolutely there supporting you. And the good thing about initiation is that because it asks you not to conform, you will always be able to find a way out of a problem, a challenge, an obstacle, because you'll be able to look at it in a very different way. Yeah, because you have that non-conformative streak.
Yes.
Yeah.
That again, I would confirm that 100%. Yes.
So
It's
the
got
main
me
thing,
into many a trouble.
the main thing to think about, if you look at your profile as a whole, is that you are here to allow change. You're here to really move with change and to trust that things change around you for a reason, and that you are the constant. You are the constancy that you need. You are here to, if you like, reach in bold, different avenues, different directions, because you're here to reach for that vision. And initiation, being underneath the surface with integration, says that you're not the follower, you're the starter, which corresponds with devotion. But you are here to do things in a different way because it doesn't want you to conform. Yeah. Stagnancy is not an option for you. And stuckness is not an option for you. And if you think about energy, energy is constantly shifting. It's never static. So you're really asked to move with the energy. You're really asked to move with the flow. And you're really asked to be in that flow within yourself as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, again, with everything that you've said there, that the cards are amazing, and obviously the how we, with our soul signatures and everything that you've channeled,
Mhm.
how true they are, how true that, for me, I can say to everybody that now everybody knows. No, it's all out there. But that what you have just said, what Nicola has just read to you all, um, is so spot on. And for those of you who are aware of my story, of the light language I bring through, and that I write and I channel, and my frequency and everything else, and what I have been placed here to facilitate, is just so true to what the cards say on all of that. It's just, that's just wow.
I'm glad it resonates for you. And I suppose what I would say is the signatures are not a they're a guidance.
Yes.
Yeah, and those times where we think, well, actually, what is my soul path? What does soul want us to do? What am I here for?
Mm.
If you can understand your soul signatures, it gives you an understanding of certain qualities, if you like, that you're asked to move into, certain
Yes.
challenges that you're asked to meet and overcome.
Mm.
And in doing so, as you work with the signatures, you start to allow yourself to work more consciously and more actively with that essence of soul,
Mm.
because it's not a passive energy.
No.
It's an active energy that is really here for us, that really wants to support and serve a purpose. And it also connects you more fully to yourself,
Mm.
outside of the expectations that life has for us, outside of the shoulds and what we are, what we're told we should be doing. It's really about that connection to you as an individual.
Mm. I can honestly say, through all of that, is there were a few things that you said that I internally had to smile to myself and thought, yes, okay, interesting, I do that, so that's something.
So there's always a
That's real.
challenge.
Yes.
There's always something to master. There's
Yes.
always something think, oh, okay, yeah, that keeps coming up. I must
Yes.
do that. Yeah.
Yes, constantly. I mean, obviously the difference being is that I can truly say that I know my soul path. I know why I'm here. And so for me, with what you have just read, is just huge confirmation for
Mm.
me, because that is a true knowing. But for somebody else who is in a state that maybe needs more of a guidance and everything else, and aren't sure, like you say, are not as sure, and this is a perfect thing for them to do, to be able to have the cards and the books, for them to be able to have that guidance within that, because I can say that they are true, they work. What you have brought through is spot on, is amazing. So for those people out there, this is definitely a way to have a tool. It's an assistance for you to be able to walk forward,
Yeah,
to move forward. And I always say this, like now, my biggest thing is for people to find their own divine sovereignty.
absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of them being a tool,
Mm.
because they're there to support you. At those moments where you think, I have no idea what I'm here for, and I don't know how to find my path. Understanding, in a really they can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make them, and you can dive into them lightly or you can dive into them deeply. But understanding some of the key components can just really reassure you about where you are going, what you are here for, and help you find the confidence to really trust in that in yourself. Because I think we're so that belief and that faith we have in ourselves is actually something that's really important to enable and to empower, and to really know your own path, but
Mm.
also to know yourself within that. And as you say, find your divine sovereignty, because we all are
Mm.
divinely sovereign.
Yes, most definitely. I mean, as I said to you when we started, and I mean, obviously I used the card slightly differently the other day when I said to you that I asked a question and I had got Nicola's cards, and I felt the need to just literally pull some cards. And this is the first time that I've ever done it to this extent. And I got the information to literally, I kept pulling them, and they ended up it being in the shape of a pyramid. And I think there would have been, I'm sure there was 4, 2, 4, 5, 9, 10. Yeah, the 11. And I ended up not, wasn't even counting. And there
Yeah,
ended up being 11 cards,
yeah.
which is so funny when you just said about obviously that the 11,
The 11th signature.
and
Yeah,
obviously that how much I resonate with the 11. I wasn't even counting, but I just did this, and they just flew out. It was like, you know, when you go with the flow,
yeah.
and I would literally just put them down without even thinking, and I got the 11 in front of me, and I sat there and looked at them and across the bottom, and as I was looking at them, I just had to smile,
Mm.
because it gave me, like I said to you, it gave me a total story
Yeah,
and a total confirmation, because what I had been talking about literally probably an hour before with somebody, and I had said exactly, more or less, there was words, exact words on these cards that I had said
I love that
to,
synchronicity.
yeah, to this person. And it was massive confirmation that all of this was exactly what I had said, I'd portrayed. I'd said, right, look, this is where we need to be, this is where we need to go, these are all the things. And the cards were there, just literally confirming it
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And what I would say, is the book really talks about working out your key signatures. The card deck actually came first, so the signatures evolved into the book. But what I would say with everything is it's really important to find your own sense of them, because I think we use tools, we use oracle cards and things so much, and we all need that support, we all need that help, we all need sometimes that sense of confirmation, don't we? But really, it's about you leaning into trust yourself,
Mm,
because the trust and the faith that we have in ourselves is actually the thing that makes the difference when we're looking at going forward, or when we're looking at making a big change, or we're looking at really wanting to follow that calling, that pull of the soul, the path that we know is right for us. It's really having that connection within, and that faith and trust in
mm,
in yourself.
most definitely. And I think that, well, I know, in fact, when you do that, and when you have that it is a constant, like that with the cards, you get a constant confirmation
Mm.
once you step into your ability, to your energy, to your purpose, and everything starts to open up.
Yeah,
You receive it, or this is what we were talking about beforehand,
yeah,
you receive it all the time, and it's in signs, it's in people showing up, it's in
yeah.
synchronicities, it's in information that you get, like we talk about the jigsaw pieces that start to fit
All come
together.
together, don't they?
It is just a constant magical path.
Mm.
When you, like you say, I've got to the stage now that over a long period of time now, I do and have surrendered to
Yeah,
the process. I wholly trust the process. And in doing so, that's when, once you're aligned, all of these things, magical things, come into your life and happen. And the more that happens, the more you walk forward on
absolutely.
your path, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And I was, if I can share this, Melanie, I was a mind, body, spirit experience a weekend ago. And I had a question. I was making a really big decision and I felt it within me. But you know, we are human. We do have that little bit of a, oh, I wonder. And I was driving there, and I just said, you know, I'd really just appreciate a really definitive yes. I feel it's a yes, I know it's a yes, but I really would just feel I just need this for this moment. And I set up, and as soon as I set up, I had a walk around. The first thing I saw was a peacock feather, which is my spirit animal. And then later on in the day, I had two conversations with two people who confirmed exactly what I needed to know. So I didn't just get it definitively confirmed once, I got it definitively confirmed 3 times. And, you know, sometimes if we're making something that is really quite a big decision for us, we do have that moment, but then if we ask for support or we ask for guidance and we get it, it's like, okay. And then we have to trust, because maybe we don't know the next step. We don't know exactly how something is going to unfold. But if we don't surrender and really just allow that, if we try to control or we try to push too much, then we're never giving the opportunity to be supported, and we're never giving the opportunity to really be guided.
Yes, I really do believe in that. And like I said to you, the more that that happens, isn't it?
Mm.
And the more that you trust the process, the
Yeah.
more things happen. So it's just literally, it's just
Yeah.
big snowball.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
you once you start it, it doesn't stop, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure when I was maybe, you know, 19 or 20, you know, I probably thought my life is going to be da, 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 da. And nothing like that at all. And thank goodness,
Mm,
you know, it's been a journey, because it always is a journey, isn't it? Um, but I have a saying actually, which is you are the journey. And I really believe that a life is the vehicle,
yes.
but it's you are the journey. You're the person that's unfolding to everything that's possible for you, to everything that you are. You're the journey, and that's really true. And I think we need to sometimes believe and trust that there is a journey that is part of who we are, and it is about unfolding that just a little bit more and surrendering to that just a little bit more.
Mm. I think with a lot of people, obviously now that are awakening on mass, and even those that are just starting to, that, you know, I get a lot of comments and a lot of questions where they'll people will say, I'm really frustrated, you know, all of these things that are happening to other people. People can see angels, people can see auras, you know, I'm not getting anything, nothing is happening to me, you know, why isn't it happening to me? And I say to people, so because you, a lot of the time, one, there is an expectation,
Mm.
and two, you are looking totally outside yourself at all these other people that have their own innate abilities, and to the fact of just because somebody else can do whatever or has an ability here, there, clairaudience, see it, you know, whatever it is,
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily mean that it's yours. You know, because
no,
we all have to find our own innate path. Or literally, I always call my frequency my soul frequency, my soul signature, and we all have one.
yeah,
And it's to be able to become, like you've said, rightly said, to be able to discover what that is, because everybody, every single person is different and has a completely different thing that they have brought in to
yeah.
put out there, haven't they?
Absolutely. And it's you said something earlier about, you know, the pieces of the jigsaw coming together. Um, and but I totally agree with that. But also, we as individuals, we are an individual piece of that big
Oh
jigsaw,
yeah,
aren't we?
yes.
Yeah. And so all of that aspect about really allowing ourselves to unfold and discovering that's you and your little piece of the big jigsaw fitting into place and really coming into being and playing the part that you're here to be, that you're here to be part of.
Totally. And that's
Yeah.
what I keep relaying to everybody out there, with everybody that has come on to this channel. Some wonderful, everybody's got some amazing
Mm.
gifts. We've had some amazing experiences, but this doesn't, for me, this doesn't work as all individuals. I
No.
say to everybody, you know, we, like you have just said, each and every one of us, especially how we are spiritually, energetically, we know where we're going. And when we get to that stage, this is about unity. This is about all of us coming together as a collective, because it makes everything much more powerful. You
Yeah.
know, all of us that hold the light, that understand our purpose, that if we're doing this separately, we're fractured. But
Mm.
if we come together, you know, as I say to everybody, as a sisterhood, you
Yeah.
know, all of us as a sisterhood, no ego, no competition, because there isn't any. You know,
Yeah.
we've gone way beyond that. But if we all come together, we all join, we all bring our different soul signatures that fit together to work together, how powerful we can be, how powerful that we can put things out there to the world to attain unity consciousness.
Absolutely. And what an amazing change that would actually engender within the world. You know, if we all really, and if there was no ego, and if there was no competition, and there was no envy, and there was no jealousy, and we all knew that just because XYZ person is doing this, it doesn't mean there's any less for us. If
Yes.
I mean, how amazing would the world we live in be? I mean, the what energy would we be waking up to every day? What energy would everybody be living, breathing, being in every day?
Mm. Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's my vision and my hope to be going forward, that we start to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's what is happening at the moment with this channel. And when, you know, I've said to everybody out there, to the fact of how this started back in September and where it is now, which, you know, which is amazing. And for all of you who have watched this and listened to Nicola, and you've heard the words about the fact of me being out there, that what happened with this channel, they literally put me out there. It wasn't me. It happened completely. They orchestrated it. I wasn't, and never have been, wanting to put myself out in the limelight at all. And this is when I laugh with you, Nicola, when you say about me being in the background.
No, not allowed, not
No,
anymore.
no, definitely not allowed. And the information that I have got through from myself, from the guides, from a lot of people that come on here, and the confirmation is exactly the same, is all the time. And I am, they, when I say they won't allow it, that is literally more or less that it's not. That's not my job. Is literally they push me
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you're here for. You know, that's what you're doing. You are embodying the path, the role, the being that you were placed here for.
Mm. I've literally surrendered to the to that
And yeah,
fact.
I can feel that as I said that. I can really feel that as I said that, Melanie. Yeah. Yeah. Just absolutely being, doing, allowing everything that you're here to do in this moment and beyond.
Wow. Thank you again for that confirmation. So a question is for all of these people that are watching,
Mhm.
and obviously, like with you've got the book and they've got the cards, but you also work with people with the soul signatures, but not only for individuals. I noticed that you also did this for business as well. Would
I
you,
do.
that's really interesting. Can you explain a little bit more how that works?
Yeah. So I believe that business has an energy, that our business has an energy. I know that, my business is very much part of me, and as I'm sure, your work and your business is very much part of you. And so just like you have 4 key soul signatures, so does your business. And understanding those can help you understand the energy that is underlying your business. So for instance, if you've got a masculine signature, which is all about structure, and it's all about process, and it's all about being disciplined, that's great as a foundation signature. It's brilliant as a foundation activation. But if your business is about holding space, if your business is about empowering people, if your business is about really enabling that deepest connection to self, then a leading activation at the top of the business isn't great. That really needs to be softened. And that might be looking at a slight change of name. It might be looking at adding something slightly different into a bit of a strap line, or looking at the other signatures. So it gives you that same, in the same way that we looked at yours, it gives you that same understanding of, well, actually, this is the energy that's underpinning my business.
Mm-hmm.
This is the energy that my business is really embodying. And then your internal and your external influences. Your internal influence is based on your foundation signature. So for instance, with your business, the inner influence for it would be integration, which is your foundation signature. And then the external is any other name it's known by. So if you had a masculine signature at the top, for instance, but it was shortened, or you had, for instance, British Broadcasting Corporation, they're generally known as BBC. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a
Yes.
stronger influence than British Broadcasting Corporation. So it's really understanding the dynamics, the energy soul dynamics of your business, the particular properties, and how you meet them. But also, if it doesn't quite align to what you want, it's being aware of that. So you can actually shift things. You can actually look at the way you work to make sure that you bring something additional in to really support what you want your business to achieve.
That's really interesting on that side of it, because I can imagine, I mean, obviously we've been through this on a personal level,
Yeah.
but to be able to incorporate that for a business,
Yeah.
that I could see how that would really assist, like you say, because everything is energy, and
Yeah.
like you say, even the structure of the business, the name of the business, and everything else would help to push that forward. And yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and it just helps you understand. So, there are some, for instance, I worked with someone recently who's actually rebranded based on some of the work that we did. And it wasn't that her signatures weren't wonderful, but they didn't quite align to what she wanted. And when we looked at a new name and she rebranded, actually under her own name, she just felt it. And it was like, oh my, yeah, because the signatures just fit.
Mm.
Um, and it's just, what it does on a subconscious level. Obviously, it means you're actually meeting and you're engaging with that specific energy. So, but it helps you understand some of the dynamics at play. I have a lady who has a masculine signature at a base level, sort of foundation level, which actually is brilliant. And what that does is it really supports her in doing the day-to-day basics, because she is not like that at all. She is very flighty, hates discipline, really likes to be in flow, and yet having a masculine signature as a business foundation signature actually really supports the day-to-day stuff that you actually have to get
Yes.
done, and the real basics. So she's really supporting foundations and building on it rather than winging it in that respect. Yeah.
That's so interesting, because you can just see how beneficial that is,
Yeah.
to be able to do that. Really, really fascinating that is,
Mhm.
Nicola.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Right, we better, otherwise we'll be here all afternoon.
We would be, yeah.
This is what I enjoy. I could just keep going on and on and on. We'll be
Well,
here.
actually, Melanie, I have a podcast starting shortly. I'm launching a podcast on the 20th of March. I would love you to come on as a guest.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
I'd
that'd be,
absolutely
yeah,
love.
that would be so much fun. Thank
Yeah,
you, Nicola.
I'd
What
love that.
have you got a name for it?
I'm just debating names at the minute, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be called Being Soul Confident.
Okay.
Yeah, same as a book. And
Yes.
it's all about soul, and it's looking at
Yes.
different experiences, different opinions, because my experience, my opinion is one thing, but
Yes.
actually we all resonate with different things, and all experiences and are really valid. So
Mm,
it's really about widening the conversation about what soul is,
yes.
so that we feel, I suppose, more inspired to connect with it, to work with it, to look at what it is for us, if we haven't done that already.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I would just love to continue the conversation. So I'd love
Oh,
for you to be a
yes.
guest on that if you'd like
That
to
would
be.
be fantastic, amazing. And we'll also. When did you say that you were? What was the date of the launch?
20th of March.
Okay, so we can still put the information out under the description to the fact of to look out for that, especially if by the time this goes out, you've decided 100% on your name, and then we can put the details below for everybody to check in and to listen to that.
Yeah.
But I found that, like you've just said, with everybody that comes on this channel, that the people that are watching are getting some amazing activation, some amazing insight through us just
Mm,
talking, just relaying our story,
yeah.
and people are having aha moments. I'm getting messages from people saying, I've had a huge activation with the word that you've said. So we know that, it is
Mm,
so important to put things like this out there, whether it be YouTube or whether it be like you doing a podcast or the book, the cards. It is all going out there to assist everybody at the moment. And it's just coming back so strong at the moment with people, what they're telling me that is happening to them. And I'm finding it amazing
mm,
and just fascinating that we can have a conversation, we can just have a chat, which I love finding
yeah.
out about people's stories and talking. But in doing so, this is really, really having an impact
Yeah.
on people out there.
And it's the words, because words have energy,
Yes.
and also there's the energy underneath the words, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. Well, we will draw this to a conclusion, and I have had an amazing time. And thank you for what you did.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and I'm sure that people will be so interested in either purchasing the book and the cards. If not, once you've done that and you want to take that further, you can check out Nicola's website, because she's got a lot of information on there that you offer further services. So I thank you for what you do, Nicola, because you've been
Thank
a
you.
massive inspiration and assistance to me, much more than you'll ever know.
I'm so pleased, so happy about that.
And I look forward to coming on your podcast.
Ah, be
So
amazing.
yeah,
Thank you, Melanie.
so thank you very much. And to everybody out there, if you haven't already subscribed, I please do so, because there's some amazing content and people that are coming up in the future. And also, when I talk about the notification bell, is to press that little bell for all notifications to make sure that you don't miss on anything that's coming out. And also to please like it and give it that thumbs up, because that will get there more traction out to everybody that wants to see it. And it gets the energy out there. It gets to more people and more people, and we wake so many more people up the further this goes. But I thank you to everybody out there for the constant assistance, support, and everybody that comes on this channel, everybody that comments and supports it. So thank you, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.